This film, I like it. Another! Thor: The Dark World. So Thor: The Dark World is the second solo Thor movie and also the second movie to take place after the Avengers. So in Thor: The Dark World, Thor has to team up with Natalie Portman and his brother Loki, who, you know, he's kind of shady, in order to defeat the dark elf Malekith. Now, I love the first Thor, but I know a problem that a lot of people had with it was that Thor wasn't really Thor for most of the movie. This is a Thor movie for those people, because you see Thor being Thor a lot more in this movie, and he's in Asgard a lot more, so, you know, it makes for some really cool action. It's directed by Alan Taylor. He did a lot of stuff on Game of Thrones, and let me tell you, it pays off. The action in this movie was great. There's one scene where the Dark Elves are just invading Asgard. Replace the swords in that scene with lightsabers, and that would be a perfect scene for Star Wars Episode 7. Take notes, Abrams. You'll probably knock it out of the park anyways, but just saying. Now, this one also has a lot more comedy than the first one. Some of it works, some of it just doesn't. There's a lot of people that hate Kat Dennings. I don't mind her that much. However, she does have this intern in the movie, and I really don't see what the point of this guy was. He could have been completely cut from the movie, and I don't think it would have been that much different. Same with this one other guy that Jane goes on a date with. He could have been completely cut. I don't even know why he was in this movie. So yeah, that's kind of annoying, but you still have the main cast from the first movie. Chris Hemsworth is still amazing as Thor. I mean, at this point, the dude is Thor. There's no one else who could play this role, let's be honest. You can tell now, especially after the Avengers, Thor's wiser. He's ready to become king now. Even though he doesn't agree with Odin all the time, you can tell he's still a lot smarter than he was in the first movie. And you can also see in this movie that Odin doesn't always make the right calls either, which is, I like that. That was cool. Humanizing the Allfather, that's where it's at. But of course, just like Thor and just like the Avengers, Loki is the man. Seriously, Tom Hiddleston's Loki steals every scene that he's in. He has such a cool dynamic he can play with because he's the god of mischief, so it creates for a lot of, you know, mischievous stuff. Now, one complaint I did have with this movie was that it did have a lot of comedy, but I feel like it wasn't really that well placed. Like, for example, when the end fight's going down, it's all epic, it's all big, and then there's like little jokes put in between, which really kind of takes you out of it. I feel like if they cut back on those jokes, it could have added to the experience. My other issue is in the writing in a couple scenes. There's a couple of parts in the middle of this movie where they take it in directions that you're just not expecting. Like, there was one part, I literally jumped out of my seat. I was like, oh, wow, they just did that, and that's crazy, and I didn't see that coming, but that's pretty awesome that they did that. You know, it's this really crazy, ballsy move, and then they just kind of, you know, they cover it up. They just give you this little quick fix, and they're just like, oh, no, we're just kidding, no, that didn't happen. I'm just like, really? Come on. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, but when it did happen, it was crazy, it blew my mind, and then you just kind of whatevered it. So yeah, that was annoying, but I still had a great time with this movie. It's like a summer movie in November, and that's never a bad thing. So I'm going to give Thor: The Dark World a solid B. You know, it's not as good as I wanted it to be, but I still had a lot of fun with it, and it was still really enjoyable. So Thor: The Dark World, have you seen it? What do you think of it? Do you prefer Thor or Thor: The Dark World? Comment down below, let me know. And thanks for watching this video. If you guys like it, then you can click here to see more.